Hello. So, I've been reading a lot of books. I read this one, Waking the Dead by John Eldredge. I'm not sure why it took me the better part of 7, maybe 8 years to read it. I saw it the first time 8 years ago, I think probably about 2012. And I really should have read it then. I wanted to, but I just didn't. I'm glad I finally have. And after I read that book, I read Wild at Heart. So, Waking the Dead, he wrote for everyone. And Wild at Heart is written for men. And so I finished both of those books, and I'm halfway through the book called Captivating. He wrote that with he and his wife wrote that for women. It's basically the partner book to Wild at Heart. And then they also wrote Love and War together, which is a book for couples. So I've been reading these books. And then for my class, this one, so I have 2 classes this semester. Addictions counseling and marriage counseling. So this book by Gerald May is called Addiction and Grace. And it is dovetailing perfectly with John Eldredge. Honestly, I would not have gotten from this book what I've gotten from it if I hadn't read John Eldredge first. And so that means a lot to me, actually. And then this book by John Gottman, it's Why Marriages Succeed or Fail and How to Make Yours Last. And this book, it's just, so basically those are the 2. I've got 5 books I have to read this semester, but those are the 2 that kind of stand out. The other ones are kind of technical, what you'd think of as your regular textbook type college books. Man, I've been reading Eldredge's books now for, I don't know, maybe a month and a half. And the things that I've learned and the impact that these books have had on me, it's still all brewing in my head. But I think the biggest thing that I have realized is something I've always kind of known, but I never really, I guess you could say I never really took it seriously. And I did, but I didn't. And that is the fact that we are at war. We're at war. The enemy wants to completely destroy us. And man, is he good at it. He is really, really good at it. The reason why Eldredge and Gerald May are dovetailing so perfectly, because John Eldredge focuses on how the enemy goes about destroying our hearts. Because if he can destroy our hearts with lies and messages that we choose to believe, then we're completely incapacitated. And we basically shut ourselves down and refuse to be used by God. We never become the people that God has designed us to be. And Gerald May is talking about how addiction does exactly that to our heart. And it's even more powerful because he said some things just in the first. I've only read the first chapter, and he said some things in that first chapter that dovetail with this model of a person that I actually started creating when I was 19 years old. And it has gone through a lot of changes since then. But when I was 19, I had this idea, and I put it on paper, and I've been kind of working on it ever since. And I realized tonight, because he makes this statement that addiction is the antithesis of love. It's almost his, honestly, it's almost his thesis statement for the whole book. And granted, I'm only in the first chapter, but I really believe that is his thesis statement, that addiction is the antithesis of love. And I went back to this model I created when I was 19 years old because I wanted to see, because I had taken the will, the mind, and the emotions, and connected them with the 9 fruit of the Spirit. Yeah, and then I had created 9 anti fruits, if you will, or carnal fruits. 9 carnal fruits, 9 spiritual fruits connected to these 3, the mind, the emotions, and the will. I wanted to see what the anti or the carnal fruit was that I had assigned opposite of love. And I hadn't really given it a name. I knew what it was. I didn't have a name for it. I called it desire, lust. I was looking for all of these words to describe what I knew what belonged there, but I didn't know what to call it. And now I do. It's addiction. That's what it is. I think I'm almost ready to write another book. I can feel it. Like it's almost like a pressure cooker. Cuz I'll spend time writing, and it's like my fingers just like the words just fall off of my fingers. And then when the pressure's off, sometimes it takes a year to build back up. Sometimes like 6 months, just depends. But I can feel there's something building inside of me, and it's starting to knock on the door. It wants to come out. So I might have to spend some time writing this weekend. But I think I'm almost ready to write another book. All right. Well, talk to you later.